Hi everyone, it's Chenzo from Reality Art Pod here to talk about Survivor Season 47, Episode 6, titled Feel the FOMO. Last week on Survivor, after another Gata loss, Sam, Andy, and Sierra voted together to blindside a very blindsided Annika. Before I dive in, I put a link in the description to my playlist where you can catch up on my previous recaps. If you like the content, consider liking and subscribing. But let's dive into it. We open the episode to a whole narration from Rome, who admits in third person that he's causing a whole lot of ruckus. Back at Gata, Andy is thrilled to have pulled the wool over Annika and Rachel's eyes. The players apologize to Rachel, who says it's just a game, but still feels like she's at the bottom of the tribe. Sam didn't play his idol at Tribal, and now wants to use it as a fake or a decoy later in the game. Rachel is praying for a merge as she continues to play it cool with even Andy. The next day, boats arrive to scoop them at camp, giving them drop your buffs messages, which thrills Rachel. Similar feelings from Teeny on Lavo, who was on the outs of her tribe. At Tuku, Gabe feels like this is one more step toward being on the new era Mount Rushmore of Survivor. The other tribes are moving to Tuku Beach, which triggers Sue into thinking she needs to clean the paint off her idol, so she goes to do that as the boats pull up at the beach. The players all gather at the beach and get a clue that they'll be playing in a merge challenge the next day, and that there's a hidden challenge advantage somewhere at their camp. They get to scrambling looking for it, and Sam and Genevieve spot a buoy that's obviously the advantage in the water, but assume it's nothing. As they search, they socialize with Saul and Sue bonding over being the same age, which they're not, obviously. Sam spots red paint at the well and the remnants of the pottery from Sue's idol. Caroline instantly puts together the pieces that Sue found the idol but is happy about it and wants to keep Sue's secret. Genevieve decides to go check the buoy. At first, she's comedically reluctant, but then she giggles as she finds the advantage. When they find out that the advantage was in the water and not near the well, everyone knows that the red paint was something different to do with idols. Caroline tells Sue that she knows that she has an idol, but Tiana also knows and suspects Sue. Rome is playing hard, deciding to target Kyle and tell Sue, Sam, and Tiana that Kyle wants to target them. Saul tells them all that Rome's words are crap and rats Rome out to Kyle. Kyle then publicly announces to everyone involved that he's coming for Rome and denies all accusations. They get to their challenge where Jeff reminds them that they're not merged. They'll be playing in a team challenge where the winning 6 players will get a feast. Those 6 players will play another challenge where one person will win the individual immunity necklace and be the only person to make it to the merge. But everyone will go to tribal council and they're pretty much merged, so the word merge now means nothing, I guess. I would love for someone to sell me on them not being merged already, whose name doesn't rhyme with Chef Ghost. The necklace is really cool though. I love the bat design. Jeff reveals that Genevieve's advantage is she automatically earns the reward and skips the first challenge and gets to play in the second immunity challenge. In the reward challenge, the teams will have to dive through the mud, use a grappling hook to get their balls, and then get up a Ninja Warrior ramp and solve a maze puzzle with their balls. Jeff tells them they'll be doing a schoolyard pick, but we don't get to see the pick happen, which is a miss, and we don't even get to know who the captains were. The teams are yellow with Sierra, Rachel, Sam, Sue, Kyle, and Teeny, and blue with Rome, Caroline, Andy, Gabe, Tiana, and Saul. They get started getting all muddy. This was good quality TV muddy mud. They then go through their wood chips, and once they're all tarred and feathered like Rick from Degrassi, they get their grappled balls at the same time. Now it's time to tackle the ramp, which looks so steep and hard to climb. I'll be honest, I can never do this. It would be my last day on Survivor. Jeff reminds them repeatedly that they have sandbags they can stack to help them with the wall, which Yellow listens to as Blue uses Andy as a human ladder to get to their table maze first. Blue team's Gabe and Rome have a time advantage heading to the puzzle as Sam and Kyle join them for Yellow at the maze. Blue are playing fast and loose, dropping multiple times with lots of judgment from Jeff, and Yellow goes slow and steady, eventually winning the race. After winning the reward, Sierra, Rachel, Sam, Sue, Kyle, Teeny, and Genevieve play the immunity challenge. In an endurance challenge, they'll be balancing a ball on a bow, standing on a balance beam. The last player standing will win immunity and make the merge. They get started and Sierra quickly drops, followed by Sam. After moving on to round 2, Rachel and Genevieve drop. Teeny gets distracted by Sue and she drops, and it's down to stoic Kyle and Sue, who's wiggling and squiggling with her bow. They move to the final section and Sue's squiggling gets the best of her, dropping the ball and giving Kyle immunity and the purple merge buff. Kyle gives a shout out to his family back home, and he and the rest of the yellow team will get to enjoy a good meal back at camp. At the feast, sorry Brooklyn, they have charcuterie, and Sam eats his first ever pineapple, which he enjoys. They openly plot against Rome, and Sue suggests Andy as a backup, which Sierra and Sam reluctantly agree to. As the losers wash off together, Caroline and Andy agree to play their amulets to get rid of them, and the consensus amongst the losers also is to get Rome out. Rome gets emotional, shedding what he calls crocodile tears, telling Caroline and Tiana that he's being picked on by Saul. Like everything Rome says, it gets back to Saul quickly as the players and drunk Teeny join them again. Rome tells everyone to vote out Saul, calling himself a mastermind and confessional. The show really goes out out of their way to dunk on Rome repeatedly in the edit as they head to Tribal Council where talk is about the challenge. And Rome tells Jeff that the plan this week is not to ruffle feathers. Rome also tells Jeff that the amulet is getting flushed, and Jeff invites Rome to sit in his seat. As Rome does his best hosting job explaining the amulet advantage to the group, Rome crushes this little skit and gets a pound from Jeff. They discuss the possibility of not making the merge.
If you just miss out, you're gonna feel the FOMO.
Oop, Andy said the thing. Then they get to the voting and they show a ton of votes for Rome, including a confessional in German from Andy. Rome writes down Sam. After the voting, when Jeff asks for advantages, the amulet holders play them as an idol for Teeny. Jeff then reads the votes, with the first one being for Sam, confusing everyone, including Rome. 2 votes for Andy come up and the rest are for Rome. Rome is clearly shocked, but thanks them on the way out and has a good spirit. After Rome's departure, Jeff gives the rest of the group their merge buffs. And we say goodbye to Rome here, who was in my opinion the star of the pre-merge, having a lot of screen time, mostly focused on him as he said himself perfectly at the onset of this episode, causing a ruckus in the game. He was outspoken, often at the expense of his nemesis Saul. While he did get a lot of camera time, I found him to be a delight and a positive character. His big smile through all of it and having a fun-loving nature made a lot of his worst actions forgivable. And he's not a terrible player, having done everything from finding an idol and playing it on himself, getting a steal a vote and using it successfully to target Keyshawn, and forming alliances along the way. It all came together with this episode that seemed to be all about Rome, starting with him being a narrator and ending with him being literally the host and sitting in Jeff's seat. The show and Jeff obviously love him, and I'd love to see him again on the show in the future. That's all I have to say about this episode. If you like the content, consider liking and subscribing. I'll be back next week with more Survivor, with a little special Halloween spooktacular episode. I have some fun and games planned for us, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss it. Until next time, have a nice weekend. Bye!